You're basically on the other side of the bridge now, and you're sort of a distance away from these trolls who are kind of preoccupied with the keep right now.
Okay. I will say to Varen and Matrum, who are, I think, on the same carriage as us, I'll say, well, that was lucky, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've never seen that many of them in one area before.
Say, do they usually travel in packs?
Nope, I've never seen that many of them in one area before.
Well, what do you think might have caused it? Any hunches?
No, I don't really have anything to go off of.
Yeah, I have no idea either. What a curious situation, huh? Better keep an eye on that.
Luckily, that it's behind us, so we can kind of keep a better eye on it, I guess.
Said agreed.
Matrim kind of explains that we're going to be passing through an area that used to be called the Forest of Worms. Used to be a whole bunch of green dragons lived in this forest. But if you can see off in the distance, and he points ahead, there's no forest there. There's a whole bunch of like underbrush and maybe some you can see some like tiny maybe trees that are starting to spring up.
What do you know about green dragons?
Not much, actually. I know that some of them have some like poison breath. That's pretty much it. That's all I really know.
I'll say, do you know what happened to them? Were they killed in the war?
Not exactly. I mean, not directly. So because of the cult of the dragon, any areas that were sort of known to have dragons, especially like a forest, people went and kind of burned the whole thing down. So they didn't have a place to live anymore, I guess. So they ended up either dying off or moving out of the area, I guess. But because of that, the Yuan Ti came down from the area to the north, and so they kind of had more area to move around without the dragons having territory down here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You get closer to this sort of desolated forest, and yeah, you see a lot more of these like burned down stumps. I mean, they're not like burnt down anymore. It looks like they're kind of just like rotting. There's some smaller trees sprouting up, but it looks like this was like a while ago, maybe like 10 years ago. So there's some young trees sprouting up, and the road is fairly overgrown.
What do y'all know about Yuan Ti? Are they do they live in packs usually, or are they kind of solo riders?
Yeah, up ahead, actually, we'll have to look out for them a lot more. Like I was saying, from them like moving into this area because of the lack of green dragons, but also we'll be passing through some hilly plains near the area of Najara, which used to be like their capital, and then there was some like infighting, and not really sure if that's still populated or not. So we'll have to keep an eye out. This is actually in the Forest of Worms. I have a little song about the Harpers and their battle with Liran Nanther. He was a lich.
All right, let's hear it then.
Yeah, so he plays this old song about Liran Nanther.
Liran Nanther, the lich.
Yep, the story is that this person was born into the Nanther family, and then at some point in time they became a lieutenant of the Zentarum, and then like they battled in the Shadowdale, and their lust for power kind of outgrew them, and they became a lich. So
Zentarum are the same as Rian, who transported us to the Red Dragon Cave.
Yep.
I'll say I'll clap afterwards, and I'll say that was really good. Thank you so much, Matron.
This is yeah, thanks. That one's one of my favorites. It's paints the Harpers in a good light.
How do you feel about liches?
I don't like them. Spooky.
I'll say fair enough.
So y'all pass through this area, and it starts to get a little more bumpy as the road kind of wears away a bit. A lot of the grass starts to erode and turn dry. It's actually getting like a little bit warmer around this area as it starts to get closer to noon, and the wind picks up a little bit. So you start to the road starts to kind of snake up to the north a little bit, you start to see these like larger and larger hills that are starting to form, and then big kind of like tears of erosion in this area. There's lots of sand that you're starting to see as you go further down this trail.
We're headed north, you said?
Like northeast. The trail is kind of like snakes a little bit. And it starts to approach night, and it gets a lot more windy. It's kind of like a lot chillier than it would normally be because there's kind of no tree coverage around here. It's just big, dry hills. Erlen, it kind of says, maybe we should try to sleep as close to the carriages as we can tonight, just because this wind is probably going to interrupt our sleeping a little bit if we don't set up camp like kind of tightly packed.
Captain. And I start setting up camp next to the carriage.
I'll help set up camp, but nothing specific really.
Yeah, I'll mention that if like the weather's looking really bleak, I always have a magnificent mansion we could all try to squeeze into.
Y'all wake up the next day. It seems like all of your stuff has like a light coating of like sand on it that's kind of blown in from the northeast. So Erlen kind of explains how while everybody's kind of getting ready that we'll have to go around this Yuan-Ti capital that I believe it's ruins now, but it's called Star Tsun.
I guess how many S's are in that word?
Mm-hmm.
How do you spell that?
SS apostrophe THAR apostrophe TISS apostrophe SSUN. She says, but we'll want to go by there kind of slowly and not make a lot of noise, just in case there are UNT in the area, because they could potentially quickly overrun us. But this is the shortest way, so just keep your eyes and ears about you.
Unfortunately, since I got this new armor, I haven't been the most sneaky of people. Do you have any tips or tricks or ways to help me be a lot more sneaky in case we do see that this place is still populated with Yuan-Ti?
Yeah, just stay in the carriage and don't move around a lot. Should be fine.
I'll say I will do my best.
Sometimes it's all you can do.
That is true.
Yeah, so y'all are headed out and around using this. So it seems like it's no more like a road than it is just kind of the natural valley shape that is made from in between these hills now that you're kind of heading through. So it's just kind of this rough grass that your horses are kind of pulling everything through. You get up to this area and there is what looks like a small river kind of cutting around this large hill off to the east, kind of goes from north to south and then snakes around this large hill. So it's kind of like a little marshy right here. So you have to kind of get the horses to go through that.
All right, looks like a little bit of a messy patch coming up. Anybody wanna try their hand at some rough terrain?
I can probably do it. I'm pretty good at driving these things.
I'll say, all right then. Good luck, my friend.
Yeah, so the horses kind of like get stuck a little bit in some of this goop, but you're able to like ease them through it. It looks like Erlen's cart, they kind of just blazed right through it and had no issues. They kind of go around you and you get splashed a little bit, but you make it through without any issues. Nothing gets stuck or anything.
Good job, Arrow. You brought us through it. I probably couldn't have done that.
Thanks. I'm not the best with animals, but I'm pretty good at driving.
You've proven that. Next time we're in a sticky situation, I'll definitely reach out.
Yeah, so you make it out of this this area with no incidents. Doesn't seem like you alerted any UNT. This dry, kind of sandy hills seem to start to fade down into just regular grassy plains. So you're kind of on these grassy plains as it starts to approach nighttime.
You could say the more northeast, but especially east that we go, the more like visibly sort of uncomfortable I am. Not hiding it very well.
I would probably wait for Erlen's signal that we need to, set up for the night?
Shortly after nightfall, she kind of takes it easy and says wants to take it easy and not kind of push your luck, and just says all right, let's call it a night.
Follow orders.
Okay.
It's a little less windy here. You can hear kind of like the rustling of grass while you sleep. But in the far distance to the kind of northeast direction, you start to see kind of on the horizon a little peak of a mountain. And then if nobody's doing anything, y'all wake up the next morning. Erilyn shows you this map in the morning as you're kind of asking about the significance of this mountain that you see in the distance. And she says, that's one of the Grey Cloak Hills. Everesca used to be there.
What we were talking about.
If I noticed you were under
everything.
duress, I would probably ask you if you were all right, Abby.
Yeah, like the further east we go, but then especially now. It's like, well, I mean, based on the map she showed us and the way we've been heading, my hometown might be a stop along the way.
I'll say,
What's wrong with that? You don't want to visit your hometown?
Well, that mountain is Everesca. It's surrounded by 12 hills of the Grey Cloak, and located inside is like it's like a haunted, crazy, spooky, scary forest full of ancient elven artifacts, and it was the site of a great elven kingdom, and my dad's basically trying to get enough money and power to send an army back in there and start the next great elven age and rebuild the kingdom.
I'll say,
Oh, that's really cool.
I mean, it would be if it wasn't him, because it wouldn't just be like this area that would be in the new elven age. It'd be like all of Faerun and possibly the world if he's really serious about some of the stuff he's said before.
That's a little less cool.
Yeah.
So maybe we can stop and ask him about your sword, arrow. We might be able to kill two birds with one stone if we're heading towards Abby's hometown, right?
I mean, that might be a good idea if he would know anything about it.
Well,
Probably be really helpful to have that information.
He knows as bad as a lot of the stuff is, he knows more about elven everything than anyone else I've ever known. It was a lot of the literature I read growing up when I was just, reading every book I could find. It's a lot of elven history and all the old kingdoms, all the old myths, artifacts, creation of the world and all that sort of stuff.
I'll say, Abby, are you gonna be, obviously we don't want to put you in an uncomfortable situation, but are you gonna be okay if we do ask your father about Arrow's sword?
I'm not even sure if he's home.
Gotcha.
Ever since he typically worked out of Baldur's Gate and Waterdeep, any of the big ports, but ever since he sold most of the company, he sort of travels all over the place, tracking down any artifacts he's ever heard of, sons and daughters of other great kings and queens throughout the years, any lineage that he can, sort of trace back, and just trying to drum up support to gather elves to take Everesca back. Because I'm not forbidden, at least from what I remember hearing growing up. It's very much this is a basically haunted place. So I don't know if it's ghosts, I don't know if it's like there's wizards, I don't know if there's monsters in there, but basically the hills are also there to protect us, because not a whole lot comes out of it.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, if he is home, we can ask. If he's not, then at least I can say hi to my mom.
I'll say, all right, sounds good to me. I'll be happy to meet the woman that brought you into the world. Such a great Harper. Probably has a really great mother, I'd imagine.
So y'all head through these plains, getting ever closer to this mountain. It starts, peaking on the horizon. As much as Abby seems uncomfortable heading in this direction, you also notice Erilyn is kind of looking the same way. So you're traveling on these plains. It starts to approach night, and at the bottom of this, the land kind of slopes a little bit. And at the bottom of this slope, you see a warm glow of what looks like an elven city. And as you approach, Abby, you know this to be Blue Leaf.
I'm home. I mean, once we're like, this is obviously where we're going, and we're not just going by it. Be like, this is home. This is Blue Leaf.
So as you're getting closer, it looks, a lot of the architecture looks very similar to what you saw in Silvery Moon. But this looks a little bit more more like homier and like more earthen and rock like rather than the lots of like wooden features of Silvery Moon. There's also no like giant river going through it, so there's no moon bridge. Everything's kind of on the same plane. Nothing is sort of like there's not like giant hills over other buildings. There's no riverbanks to build up upon. It kind of sits on this hill essentially.
I'll say, it's a very beautiful hometown, Abby.
I don't know if it was ever obvious when you guys met my dad that one time, but he is my stepfather. And so when my mom remarried, we relocated to here. We used to live in Barragost, which is just outside of Baldur's Gate. There one day, and she met my dad while he was at work there, and it was love at first sight, I guess. But he moved us here because this has always been his home. And it was after my dad, well, my birth father left. So
What is your stepfather's job?
he is Arameus Seacaster, the Seacaster trading company you might have heard of.
Yes.
But he, at least according to him, everyone here sort of jokes about it from what I've heard, but a lot of people typically take him very seriously with whatever he says, but he claims to be some sort of descendant of a former ruler of not Everesca, but this area. And so with his money and power, he sort of made a name for himself. And then, I don't know, I think he sort of retroactively put it in the history books, but please don't tell him I said that.
Oh, I won't. Don't worry. Do you feel he's being insincere when he says that he is descended from royalty?
I definitely think he believes it, but whether it was like some ancient elven kingdom or just, a little hamlet that used to sit outside of it, if he was like great-great-great-great-grandson of the mayor, then I don't know, he could sort of take all the crazy history of this area, with the spell plague and everything that happened all over the place and kind of splice everything together to make it sound better than it actually is. I'm not entirely sure, because even after we moved here, we did a lot of traveling for my brother. He's a very successful fencer, and he had tournaments all over the continent. I even went to WoW once as a very young person, and that's when I met Shizeno very briefly.
I take it the way you speak about him, you are not a fan of Arameus Seacaster.
When I first met him, I was much younger, so to know somebody who is in charge of a continent-spanning company that had ships that would go all over the world, even, and to run such a tight ship of a company, to have everything, he was always looking over just stacks and stacks of ledgers and guides and maps and orders, and he was always doing something to better his company, and that I respect. But sort of as I grew up and I helped get involved a little bit, just learning how to handle money and asking favors, really, if they could bring home any books on magic, of fairy tales, foreign countries, just any information I could get my hands on that we didn't have here. It was became pretty clear that it was much more of an iron fist. Even though I'm not his daughter, I was sort of daddy's little girl, and if I asked any of his employees for something, they would get it for me, or I would never see him again, because if you don't meet your deadline, you're no good for the company. So he would just fire him.
I gotcha. And how old were you when you moved to Blue Leaf?
About 9. It's been almost 20 years. Elves age.
Right, yes, okay. Yeah.
Fun for like middle teens for
Yes.
an elf.
Yes, okay. I'll say, all right, fair enough. Good to know going in. I'm not going to ask any further questions again. I feel like it's impolite to keep prodding. I'll shout over to Erilyn. I'll say, hey, Erilyn, is this one of our stops?
And she says, yeah, we'll actually be offloading the carriages here. There are some pack camels on the eastern edge of this town that we'll have to load up in the morning to make it across the Anarok desert here. We'll have to resupply in the middle at an outpost.
So we're spending the day here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of cooking, so if I could get a bite to eat, that'd be great. So yeah, we'll be spending the evening here.
All right, that's good, because we actually have to stop here and talk to Abby's family quickly, so that actually works for us very, very well. So we'll meet up with you probably at the tavern after we're done with that.
Yeah, that works.
Alrighta then.
Yeah, so she kind of heads off with the carriage and the people on her carriage.
I mean, we'd still follow them and obviously drop the cart off where it needs to go.
So you head to the eastern edge of the town. You actually see, as you're going by, you see like this big, actually a bunch of these big trees to the northern side of Blue Leaf, and they kind of look like maple trees, but they have blue leaves and kind of like a darkish blue tint to the bark.
I'll elbow Abby and I'll say, hey, it's a blue leaf.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they were always like this or again, if it was like a spell or whatever, but yeah, blue leaf.
And as Wyatt kind of nudges you and points over to the trees, you see these things that are kind of like hanging, and they kind of look like almost like dream catchers a little bit, but it's kind of like an old elven calendar, basically. And it's kind of marking like what day of the year it is and stuff. And then you realize that today is your birthday. You drop off the carriages. Everyone says they'll take care of this and load that up. So we'll just, instead of the tavern, we'll just meet back over here whenever you're ready to leave tomorrow. So everybody can kind of do their own thing for the night.
Thanks for sharing the carriage with us, Varen and Matrim. It was a pleasant journey. We have some business to take care of, so I guess this is where we part ways.
Bertram says, yeah, I'm actually going to see if I can make a little extra money tonight at the tavern. So if you have a few minutes, stop on by there.
Say, we will try.
And Varen says, well, I'm gonna try to get some sleep.
I don't blame you. See you in the morning.
And he runs off after Matrim.
Then I guess I'll turn to Abby and I'll say, all right, Abby, lead the way.
Okay, and I take them all to my house. Sleep over
Slumby.
not the very edge of town, but closer to the rest of the woods that lead into towards the Grey Cloak, just closer that way. And not that it's like the biggest and grandest building, but it is very much like one of the tidiest looking from the outside. Not opulent on the inside, but it is very much like the typical, like what you would see in a picture book of like Elven society decor, a like living wood harp that plays itself, but it's in like a glass case because like he wouldn't want anyone to touch it because it's some great relic, but why he keeps it in his own house and not like a museum or giving it back to like the rightful owners or whatever is more how I would picture him living his life. But it's not like this is cluttered with relics and artifacts. It is very much handpicked to his own personal collection. And even from what I've said, it's like a surprisingly modest house because he does live his life on the move a lot. So he doesn't keep too much around, but it is very much a like very prim and proper home base. And then I just have like a little room on the top floor that like the window faces out to the wall of the next building. I don't have a nice view of anything. Just kind of seems like an afterthought.
You enter your home, and
It's very open flooring.
yeah, and so when you kind of step in there, it seems like nobody is home right now.
Not too surprising. So yeah, I'll say to everybody, doesn't seem like anyone's home right now. They might be away on vacation or on business. My mom just travels a lot too. My brother's off at college, so this isn't too surprising. But I guess I'll take like a quick look around the house to see if anybody's like, working in a den and it's just quiet, or if there is actually no one here.
Yeah, it looks like nobody's here, but you do see like it looks like there's a book that was out that somebody was reading, so it seems like maybe they're just out right now and they'll be back later. It looks like something that your mom would read.
Yeah, I'll let them know. Yeah, it looks like my mom is still here, just not at home. So she might be back a little later on if we want to take a look around the rest of town.
Yeah, I mean, we could wait here. I mean, it might be a little bit of a shock for your mom to come back to a bunch of strangers in her house, obviously. So maybe it does make sense for us to take a tour of town and then come back later. Any special requests? Anyone want to go anywhere? Spend their money? I know we got a decent amount of cash from the last mission we were on.
I was kind of interested in checking out the tavern. I could definitely use a drink and some meat.
Fair enough. I do love a good meat, so maybe we can meet up with everyone else who probably headed towards the tavern. I'll probably start heading towards wherever I think the tavern is.
I'll bring you guys.
Oh yes, you know the town. So I'll probably ask Abby. I'll say, well, Abby, you know where the tavern is. Lead the way again.
Okay.
You head over to it's more so it's called the Elder Tree Inn. From the outside, it looks like a fairly large tavern. Then you get inside. There's a few tables kind of scattered about towards the edges of the main area where you walk in, and the rest is kind of this like smooth, polished wood floor. And you see Matrim like rush past you, and he says, they didn't want me playing here.
Why not?
He said that they didn't really like my music, I guess.
I know from experience that you are a wonderful musician. That is awful to hear. I'm so sorry. Don't let it discourage you. Some people, art is subjective. And I think in general, people love your music. They might just have some weird taste here, potentially.
So you look at where he was coming from in the building, and there's like a giant harp that's kind of like up on a stage. There's an elven male who's like, he kind of looks like a barkeep, but a little more well-dressed. And they look like they are consoling a couple of people at a table.
Can I, see if I can pick up anything they're saying?
Yeah, he's like finishing the end of his sentence. He was like, "Oh yes, I know. Very, very upsetting." And then kind of goes back behind what you assume would be the bar.
I'll ask Abby, what do you think that's about?
Probably the commotion that just left.
Did I miss something?
A bard that they kicked out because they didn't like his music. And then you walk in and you just see like there's a harp rather than...
Wait, so you think they were upset by Matrim's music?
A lot of what happens around here is very much just not historical reenactments sort of history, but this is a very tradition is strong here. So to come in and sing about dragons killing people and great heroes fighting armies and all that might be a little bit of a shock to the system.
Just out of curiosity, how upset was this person? Were they sobbing or?
They were like on the verge of tears, but no tears yet.
Makes sense. I know the type.
Yeah, the sort of anxiety that Abby has is from being in a very structured, hard, disciplined sort of family, but also kind of that's what a lot of this area is everybody's just not soft in the bad way, but it can certainly get to that point with some people.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, they're gonna love our group, aren't they? I guess I'll sit down. All right, Arrow. Feel free to order whatever meats you want, and I'll share with you. We'll split it half and half.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna go sit down and order from the barkeep. I'll ask for a pint of mead and ask him what kind of meat he has.
He says, "Well, we don't really have mead. There is some elderberry wine, if you like that."
How much is a cup of that?
Oh, a cup. What I mean, you don't really serve it in a cup, but probably.
I pull on your album it's typically by the bottle here. It'll be more expensive than you think.
Yeah, if you want a portion of that. Do you mean you split it up between your party? I can do that for you.
Does anybody else want any?
I'll have a cup, I guess.
If Wyatt's having one, I'll have one. I don't want it, but
Yeah, I usually have a little glass with dinner, so if we're gonna eat two, then sure.
And they say, normally, you pay once everything is brought out to you and you're ready to leave. Paying ahead of time is so.
Yeah, what are you in a rush? If you're an elf and you're in your homeland, you could theoretically live forever, and you're in a rush.
And what if you want more food and drink? Then you have to pay again. It's much easier to just do it all at once at the end.
I just like to keep track of how much I'm spending.
That's a good one. Oh, you're serious. Well, it's about 13 gold, I guess.
One bottle of wine is more than a feast?
Oh, well, I mean, you've got to try this one.
Yeah, you want a bottle of pristine elven wine. It's probably 700 years old.
How much gold did we make for
roughly that much, 12 or something.
Yeah, you get paid bi-weekly, and your weekly amount is 6, I believe.
Love that.
Yeah, you're spending a whole paycheck on one bottle of wine.
I'm gonna whisper in Arrow's ear, and I'm gonna say, I don't think we can afford the meat here.
They say, why don't you, you decide as a group and just let me know and I'll come back. You just wave me down. And then they say,
I would.
do you want some water to start with?
I would get
I
turn.
lean
I
into
would
Wyatt
turn
and
red.
say, we only have sparkling water here. There is, it is actual tap water, but it comes out sparkling. So
I turn red in the face and look really embarrassed, and I fork over the 13 gold for the bottle.
I say, oh, that's just keep that there. I'll bring that out. I wasn't expecting that. So, and they say, actually, you know what? Maybe I will take it right now, and I'll just set it aside, and we can add the rest to that later. They take the 13 gold, and they go off to the back.
I would say to Abby, I'm kind of starting to understand why you didn't want to come here.
I mean, I'm used to this, but a lot of people, at least that I've met, who come here are typically traders, people crossing the desert either direction. This is a common stopping place. But a lot of people who do stop here don't often stop here a second time, because they kind of come in once, get the experience, I guess you could call it, and maybe skip it the next time.
So they come back with this, kind of looks like a leaf pattern that this like blue and maroon kind of colored, it's like iridescent bottle comes back. It almost looks like has like a round bottom and then kind of goes up to like a very skinny top and then is tapered off at the top. Yeah, it has like a leaf pattern kind of to it. They set that down, and they bring a tray of wine glasses, and they set those down as well. And then they pour each of the glasses, and then set the bottle down on one side of the table.
I mean, Arrow, I'll tell you, if you're paying for this whole thing, I feel bad drinking any of it, unless I pay for part of it. So I'll pay for, I don't know, 5 gold of it.
It's okay. I just don't want these guys to think they're better than me.
All right, fair enough. Do you still want to share a glass of wine? I would not blame you if you wanted this all to yourself. It is very much a treat.
No, I bought this for everyone.
Too kind. And I'll take a glass and I'll pour myself a little bit.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna like hold your wrist before you go to take a sip and be like, you have to let it decant for like 10 minutes to get the full experience. So just let it rest for a little.
All right, you are my teacher here. You are the guider. So definitely thank you for that tip, and I will follow through with that. Thank you.
It almost certainly tastes exactly the same in my experience, but people tell me it tastes better that way.
And they ask, do you want to start with a charcuterie board? We have some cured elk's meat and some berries and foliage picked today from our garden.
Even though I am hungry, I'd say, oh, no, I'm not hungry. I ate on the way here. Thank you, though. I do appreciate the gesture.
And they say, well, I'll leave this menu here for you, and just flag me down if you want anything. And they go and they walk over to the giant heart on the stage there, and they start playing some beautiful elven classical music.
I'll like very sneakily, which I guess I'll probably have to roll again. I'll like reach over the table, grab the menu, and just like slide it over to me and like take a peek to see if there are any prices on the menu.
If not, what?
If not, then I'll just be like,
there are no prices now.
oh, perfect. Love that.
You see something that says market price,
So like nothing,
but doesn't
like,
give the price. Yeah, it just
Perfect.
says market price. Yeah.
market.
Yeah, it's what you would expect to pay at a place like this.
Right.
Okay, and
Right.
I would take a big gulp of my wine and ask Abby if elves like to gamble.
Oh no.
I mean, not in my experience. Maybe if you want to play in the like, I guess, grandest sense of gambling, like the stock market, but they don't really treat it like gambling. It's not a quick buck. It's putting money in and waiting like 5 decades and hoping for the best.
I see. I was just gonna see if maybe I could swindle a meal out of this barkeep, but I don't think we're gonna be eating here tonight, to be honest.
I don't want you guys to see this as a reflection of all elves. Most other elves that I've come across are much more like Erlen than they are like the people you'll typically have to deal with here.
From the table behind you, the people that the barkeep was consoling before, you see you hear the person who was like sobbing say, "Oh, this one is my favorite," and they stand up with their partner and start dancing like ballroom style in the open wooden floor.
This is a lot for me. Is that like normal here?
Yeah, it's part of the reason. They actually did renovations right when we came in here and sort of doubled the size of this place because people kept requesting that tables be moved so they could dance more.
Very interesting.
They leave food on the table.
No, we didn't order any food.
No, the other people.
Not us, them.
Oh, them. Okay.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, there's some food over there.
Is anyone sitting at the table?
No.
Was it just the two of them?
Yeah, it was like a table for two.
Yeah, dance on over there and grab some food. Bring it over.
You like kind of look at them for a little bit, and then you kind of mimic like what they're doing, and you gracefully manage to get over there near the table, and so you're taking the food.
Yeah, I just want to like take like a plate of it and drop it in front of Wyatt.
So before,
Oh.
okay. So you notice that the plate is like a half-eaten some sort of fish. It looks like.
Of course it is.
Mhm.
That's okay. I'll ignore that. I'm not the one eating it.
I did decide it was fish before you said you were going to do this. So.
But I just want to make it look like I belong there. I'm not stealing it. I totally had that when I started dancing.
Yeah. So you make it back over to Wyatt, and you have this plate of food.
Good thinking. Anybody else hungry?
I am.
Hey, Shazeno, do you think you could steal another plate?
Oh God, I was not going to do that, but if Wyatt asked me to, I was already pushing it doing it once, but
Just barely. Yes, you managed to get over there. There's like a half-eaten charcuterie board. Yep, and you bring that back. This one has like some little pieces of bread on it too, and some cheeses. So this seems like the deluxe one. And just as you're getting back to the table, one of the doors slams open from outside, and it's Erilyn, and she looks kind of like upset, and then you hear almost like as if like one of the harp strings like broke as this person was playing. They like stop immediately playing. The couple that's on the dance floor, one of them screams. Not very loud, just like as she goes in there, and she goes yeah, and like goes and you see her lean over the bar, grab something from underneath, and it looks like one of these bottles that you had just purchased, and she then brings it over to your table, and she also like scatters some coins on top of the bar, and points at the barkeep and says, "Shut it, I know." Walks over to your table, slams down the bottle of wine, and says, "Hey, what's up, kiddos?" And then she starts to chug this bottle of wine.
I am feeling on the inside the way you're behaving on the outside.
Yeah, I can get that. And then she points at Wyatt and Arrow, and was about to point to Shizeno, but then doesn't. Says, points back at Arrow and Shizeno, Arrow and Wyatt, and goes, "First time in Blue Leaf."
Yep.
Yeah, I've learned a lot already.
He says, "Yeah, not one of my favorite places, but well, I don't want to insult Abby, so."
It's not one of my favorite places either, unless my mom's home, which she wasn't. So
I mean, my
Gonna try
parents were
again
pretty
later.
wealthy, but they didn't act like this.
Yeah, Elven society can be a little bit more, we'll say, headache-inducing.
Well, they're a bit
Say-
snooty, but this food is delicious.
So that is true. And then she like reaches over and grabs a chunk of the fish with her hand and like pops it in.
yeah, I grab a chunk of the cheese off the board. I'm like, this Gruyere is actually my favorite cheese in the world.
This is a good one. So, Abby, I ran into your father just a few moments ago. He's
So he is in town. I thought
charming fellow, that one.
maybe just mom was home. I mean, I guess that's good news for everyone else here. And I sort of give a like very forced smile to Wyatt and Arrow.
Did he mention where he was headed and where he was on his way to? I would like to meet with him and ask him about some things.
I believe he was going to the bank, as far as I remember him saying. But yeah.
I don't know
Let's
if I
say,
want to bother him while he's making a transaction.
Yeah, probably not. Hey, I take it you've been here before, Erilyn?
You could say that, yeah.
I mean, this isn't your hometown or anything, is it?
No.
I'll say, all right, fair enough.
Do you ever hear of anyone by the name of Zabarrel?
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
Good.
Why do you ask?
Just, it's better that you trust you more that you don't know the name.
All right, fair enough. How is everybody else doing?
They're good. A couple people were, going on a hike around the outskirts of the city. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing.
Say, all right, do you have any suggestions on how we get food around here without, spending our life savings?
Oh, I'll cover this meal. That's fine.
I was gonna say I can also. I usually wear, not that you guys would know this, but I have a signet ring, which is part of like my noble background that I've just been toying with, and I've been keeping the signet like on the palm side with my hand closed, so it just looks like a regular band. And so like I'm just playing with that. I'm just like I can pay for it, and then I can always have my mom pay me back. I don't want to show this off in town. I kind of fly under the radar. Nobody really remembers that I'm the Seacaster girl. Is how people tend to remember me, not necessarily by name. They always remember my older brother though.
Was your brother notable for some reason? And I know he fenced, but is this a big fencing town or?
He's Arameus' son by blood. I am not his child by blood. So
I gotcha.
Not that. Not that people treat him like he's the mayor or anything, but go to any town that has a local rich person who just throws money around whenever he's home and see how they feel about them. Whether they like him or not, they're gonna respect the name probably.
I gotcha. Makes sense.
That's why I usually go by my mom's name, Abernant, just because I don't want the special treatment. But I have learned from him when to use it to get something I need for free. I don't usually like to do that.
Say it's definitely a good ace to have in the hole. Now I guess I'm a poker player.
But yeah, I that's why I did warn you that I was everything around here is going to be probably more expensive than you would want. Definitely more than you would. Or it's more expensive than you would expect. Definitely more than you would want. But like food and stuff is a necessity, so I can pay for it. Then I can always just ask my mom to pay me back.
Say that's very kind of you and your mom. I do appreciate it. And then after that, I'd probably order like a modest meal, so something small, just to actually eat instead of having half a fish that Erilyn also ate. Is there anything else that we discuss? Does anybody else want to ask anything?
No, I'm a little more like jittery, fidgety now that I know that my dad's definitely back in town.
Once we finish eating and everything, I'll say, Abby, do you think your parents are home at this point?
We can definitely go check. My mom had left some stuff out, so I don't think she'd be gone for the whole day. She's probably just running some errands or going to meet my dad when he showed back up. But if he's going to the bank, then he probably either just got here or he's about to leave. So we should probably see him either way, because we know he's here, so he doesn't usually stay in one place for too long. So it's probably best to see him as soon as we can.
Say, all right, everyone ready to leave then?
Erilyn says, oh yeah.
I'll say, do you want to join us in meeting Abby's family?
I'm sure your mother is a fine elf, but I'll try to find some other entertainment for the night.
Say, fair enough. Take care of yourself. Let us know if you need us.
Oh, I will.
And then I'll probably say, all right, Abby, tell us where we need to go.
Does it seem like Erilyn's actually going to cover this meal, or should I get the check?
Yeah, it seems like she's good for it.
Okay. So I thank her, and then I take us all back to my house.
Okay. You head back to your house. When you enter, your mom is waiting there in the foyer or the foyer, and she says, "Oh yeah, I heard you were in town. I got you this lovely blue cloak," and she kind of twirls it around. It's got these blue and silver sort of like Art Nouveau filigree to it.
Oh, thank you so much. This was the first place I came when I got back to see if you were here, but you were out at the time, so we went to go get some food quick. Thank you so much.
Says, "Oh yeah, I was shopping, and then I kind of ran out of a little fun, so I ran into your father and had to ask him to run down to the bank and just so I could get you this cloak.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Yes, it's extra thick for winter, so."
I was gonna say I'll run to my room real quick and change. This outfit's all sandy. I don't want to get this cloak dirty right away. But I'm like, this is Wyatt. He's in charge of our team. He's been our leader whenever we go out on missions. This is Arrow and Shizeno, sort of my partners in, and I freeze right before I say crime, business. and they've had my back whenever we get into scraps. But yeah, everybody, this is my mom.
I'll tip my hat and I'll say, "Pleasure to meet you, ma'am."
I would like bow and say, "Nice to meet you."
Same. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was going to make some food, but I didn't realize you had so many guests.
That's fine, ma'am. No need to feed us. We actually just had a great meal at your local tavern. This town definitely has some talented cooks, that's for sure.
She says, "Oh yes, I love their roasted fish that they do."
That's what I had. It was very good. Abby, did you want to say anything else to your mom?
Oh, I'm changing in my room. That's why I introduced you
changing
all,
in
so I could run away, change, and then come back while you guys all talk to each
They're
other.
just like,
So yeah, if I come back to a very awkward room.
No, I'd probably say something like, Abby is doing really great at the Harpers. She's really helped us a lot. She's very, very clever. You have a wonderful, talented daughter. I'm very proud of what she's been able to achieve, and I'm sure her mother's just as impressive.
well, yes, I do a lot of good baking, so that should suffice.
Yeah,
say,
she's a world famous sticky bun recipe, if you ask me.
I thought you were changing, Abby.
I'm coming down the stairs.
Oh, okay.
It was literally changing my top and then throwing the cloak on over the new one, coming back down.
I'll say, what's a sticky bun?
A super, super soft biscuit that you use some cinnamon and sugar and spices, and then there's a little vanilla sort of citrusy drizzle you put on top.
While Abby is describing this, you see her mom run off into another room and then come back, and then plops a piece into your mouth. Wyatt.
How does it taste?
Tastes good?
I'll say, "Oh my God, this is incredible. Thank you, miss. Oh, I can understand why this is world famous."
She grabs a cloth napkin and then dabs your lips, and it's like, "Oh, you got a little. There you go."
I'll say, "Oh gosh, thank you again, ma'am. So hospitable. I'm very thank you so much." Now, actually, we were I was talking to Abby, and we're actually very, very excited to meet your husband, because we actually have some elven weapons that we wanted to ask him about. I hear he's quite the
Weapons? Oh, geez. You brought those in here.
No worry, they're no worries. They're not a threat to you, I promise.
I would pat my sword and say, "Never leaves my side."
And when it does, she can yoink it right back with magic, so it wouldn't really help to leave it anywhere else.
Nifty thing to have. Your brother could use something like that. He likes to leave his rapiers all over the place.
Yeah, I'd say it. I always used to think he was collecting them, but it was more so he would forget and then just buy a new one.
Yes, it does seem to weigh on the family coffers in that way.
Is Fabian home? And then I clam up a lot. I'm just or Hilarial. Oh yeah, by the way, guy, I have a sister too. She kind of went off to college before even our big brother did. She's the real smarty pants of the family, off doing bigger and better things than any of the rest of us.
She says, no, she's not back for winter break yet. I believe that'll be another 10-day. He says, yes, and I made this other sticky bun specifically for your birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. And then I awkwardly look at everybody, very much not telling them it was my birthday after I remembered.
Abby, it's your birthday and you didn't tell us. And you almost bought us a meal on your birthday? Come on. How could you keep something like that from us?
I mean, and then even though there's not a lot of wood in this place in general. But I find a little bit of wood and I knock on it and I'm like, well, assuming all goes well, I should have a couple hundred more of those. So, I mean, one's not usually a big deal for elves. It's typically, decades and centuries are the big ones.
And then your mom sort of interjects. She goes, you really can't blame anybody if the dates kind of get away from you. And she's just slightly tugging at the cloth napkin in her hand.
But thank you a lot. Even though I don't expect it, it does mean a lot to me. So thanks, Mom.
She says, you're welcome. She says, and I never got to reply to your your letter there. I've been so busy around the house.
Not a problem. Typically, I send and receive letters in our couple days in between missions, and then I'm right back off. So even if you did write back right away, there's always a chance I won't see it for a couple weeks at a time.
Says, just as busy as me. Says, well, it is getting late, so I am going to head upstairs for my my meditation and bath.
Okay. Is Dad home? Is he on his way out? Do you happen to know where he is?
Well, he dropped off the money I needed for the cloak, and then he said he was going to talk to some of the traders at the that have the camels at the edge of town there.
That's where we're gonna end up tomorrow. So I guess it'd be good to scout ahead a little bit. Thank you. And I give her a big hug.
Enjoy your bath. I know firsthand how important soaking and thinking and resting is. I built a sauna with my friend here, Shazeno, all by ourselves from scratch. So
And I light up a little bit. And I'm like, oh, in one day they built a whole working sauna. I didn't think I was ever going to see a sauna until I came back home. Being out in the woods, it was incredible.
She says, "Oh my, wow, look at you, very strong there, Wyatt." You said.
Yeah, Wyatt. If you ever come visit us at the Harpers, you're always welcome to share in the pleasure of my sauna.
She says, "Oh, I'd love to," and then she gives you a wink.
I'll say, I'll wink back. Am I flirting?
I mean, that's up to you.
Yeah.
Is Abby's mom hot? Is she
She's an elf, so yeah.
So probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So yes,
She's that like. Is she like 35? Is she 55? Like.
Is she 300? Who knows?
Yeah.
I love it.
Her name's Adine.
Adine. Okay.
Adaine.
All right.
Abernathy.
Romance Adine later.
You have to roll for flirtation.
If you want to.
Do you want me to? I mean,
If you want to roll for it, it's also susceptible to go wrong. So.
I know. I'll just leave it up in the air. The winks are just they're gonna float there like a fart. And
Yes, because those always go down so well.
And we'll never really know what that wink means. I think it's more mysterious that way.
Yeah, that's where the fanfic comes in.
True. Yeah, I know. People are going to start writing fanfics for us about our D&D campaign. But yeah, all right, Abby, you know where we need to go, I'm guessing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'll follow you.
You head to the eastern part of town. A lot of the buildings become less and less, more and more scarce, I guess. And the trees start to dwindle, and some of the sand from the grassy outer areas sort of seems like it's creeping into the city in this part, or town rather. And there's a whole bunch of camels over there. A big warehouse. It looks like there's lots of crates and stuff in there. And then you see Arameus Seacaster. Looks like he's arguing with one of the merchants that kind of seems like they're just kind of like trying to brush him away, but he's like following them as they like try to walk away to ignore him.
If you guys want to go talk to him right now, you can. It might not be the best timing unless you can probably help him out. He would appreciate the help, but he probably wouldn't feel like he owes you anything. I mean, it's really up to you.
Well, I'm not doing anything else, and he does. We do want information from him, so maybe it makes sense to help him a bit.
Do you think that he would be familiar with my family lineage? Would that mean anything to him?
I mean,
I do have one of those rings.
There's a chance anyone sort of any importance, he at least likes to, schmooze with, go to, big important parties and rub elbows and just kind of get his name out there. So I never really learned a whole lot about the Cult of the Dragon War stuff. I don't know if he was super interested in that, but anyone wealthy and or powerful was probably on his radar at some point, so maybe.
Well, I'll make sure it's showing just in case. I'd like fish out my little family crest ring from my pocket and stick it on my finger.
And then it looks like he finally has like gotten a hint from this person that he was arguing with, and goes to walk past you, and then realizes that Abby, you're right there, and says, Abby, you're home. That's right. I was talking to Amnestria's daughter earlier.
Oh, Yes, that my mother's Adine Abernant, and I'm Abby Abernant,
Yeah, jeez.
and my father is Arameus. Yes, it's almost like it's a pattern, except for his children. and I screwed that up by being another A name because that means we have the same initials, and he isn't super happy about that.
R.I.P.
I say, yeah, you probably met Erilyn. She said she had run into you.
Yes, that's right. That's her name. Yes, we had a bit of a talk. Apparently, she doesn't like the way I refer to her. She's not a big fan of her lineage, apparently.
She didn't mention that. She seemed like she was in a bit of a rush to get some food and drink after she had run into you. So I didn't press her too much on what had happened.
Yes, our conversation was a bit draining, but nevertheless.
It's actually good that you're in town. We happen to just be passing through for the night, and my friend here, this is Arrow's son. She has a sword that seems to resemble a moonblade, but
Is that May's sword, right? I tried to buy that. How long ago was that? Not too long ago. Maybe 25 years ago?
Do you know anything about where it came from?
No, it's an interesting thing, though. It resembles the Moonblades, but isn't quite one.
That's what everybody's saying.
But anything that resembles an elven artifact would be intriguing to have by somebody in my position.
Do you know what kind of people or who made those weapons, the Moonblades?
Well, the Moonblades are passed down through generations of elves.
have you ever heard of anyone sort of, taking the, not technology, but taking the sort of craft and honing it for, a different race? That would be some sort of, I don't know, sort of demonic, sort of celestial, not elven, not human.
No, I have heard of someone taking the elven part of their blade and letting a human sort of alter it, but your Erilyn knows about that, so.
I'll whisper in Arrow's ear. I'll say, ask about Ploppy.
Well, I would assume this guy seems pretty smart. He probably knows how to read these runes. I would pull the blade out and I would say, does this word have any significance to you?
No, I'm not even sure what that says there.
Okay, I would say okay, and then I would.
Would you? You wouldn't want to part ways with that, would you? Couple platinum should be fine for that, right?
No.
Really?
I wouldn't sell it for anything.
Nothing, huh?
And I'll sort of lead into him a little bit and say, the good master's son has passed away since, so it has been handed down. The tradition's begun for this one too.
Unfortunate, I guess. Well, speaking of tradition, somebody told me it's your birthday today. Now, normally I would give you a big stipend of that, but you've also been a little bit draining the family coffers, shall we say?
Yeah, I'm still, sort of learning the business side of it, of using what I have to get what I need, but I still end up using what you have to get what I need. Isn't the best, but I'm working on it.
Yes. Speaking of, is this the famous Shizeno I've been hearing all about?
Oh, yes, this is.
And then he puts out his hand and almost does like a half bow / curtsy, like he's not sure exactly what to do.
Hello.
Abby here tells me you, in your travels and time at the palace, you might have heard of somebody called Rydell O'Lyra. Is that true?
Is that true?
You've never heard of that person?
Yeah, I asked you and you said you've never heard of it.
That's right. That's why I sounded familiar. Yes, I'm lying.
Okay.
I'm persuading him that it's true, right?
What's
Yeah.
that?
So I have advantage on persuasion checks within 10 feet. I rolled a 7 twice.
He looks at you confused with your answer because you're saying that you know, which he's excited about, but also you look like you don't know. So he's confused if you know or not. And he's like, I hadn't heard from them in quite a while. Actually, we were planning on doing a trade deal at the palace. When was the last time you ran into them?
I don't know anything about him, right?
Say-
At all, other than the name.
If I see you sort of stumbling, I'll be like, I mean, Shizeno has been out of WA almost for as long as I've been with the Harpers. When exactly did everything fall through, Dad?
It's about probably in a week. It'll be 183 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
See, this is why I never lie, is because I'm afraid of this.
it's probably been about that long. That makes sense.
how old is Shizeno?
Like 20 or something. No, wait, no, I'm 184. I'm 184.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay,
say I
okay,
knew
okay.
you were close to 180.
Weird, those two numbers.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it was close. That exact number, wasn't it? Huh.
Well, it's one less
Alrighty.
because you're.
Did you
I wrote down that you're.
murder someone as a 1-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not telling him my age, just to be clear.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah.
know, but I remembered that number being pretty familiar.
That will feel significant to you that they're saying this and it's 1 year less than how old you are. Yeah.
Interesting.
How long has it been since you've talked to them? And I
Oh,
said,
no,
how long has it been, Dad? And he said 183 years.
Yeah, I said, yeah, that sounds about right. That's about when I last saw him.
So as well, I was hoping to sort of reinitiate that deal that he was supposed to get through, and I never really figured out, where they went or what happened that when they were there. So do you have any idea?
I don't.
We actually happen to be on our way to Wa tomorrow morning. We're continuing our journey there.
Real quick, can I do like a history check to see, think of any major events around that time?
Yeah, I'm basically trying to buy time whenever I jump in and be like, I don't know if you had like a copy of a contract or if you wanted to write up a letter and we could try to look for you or what. But we're headed straight there. I think we only have one stop, basically halfway through the desert, and we keep going from there.
Interesting. That's way more information than these merchants were giving me. You'd think other elves would be forthcoming with information of other elves rather than people that they're helping transport goods with, that aren't the sea casters. But at least you've been helpful. Yeah, I got the information that I needed, so I'll see you at home, I guess. And then he kind of rushes off past.
I have really good history, but I could never freaking use it because we're never talking about WA. It's like I don't know shit about Faerun.
Thinking back to about that time, that the Empire used to be matrilineal, and then now it is not. That the Empress was murdered around that time.
So you did kill somebody as a 1-year-old.
I killed the Empress. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I necessarily put that together with what was his name? Ryzen or Rydell?
Rydell.
I don't know why I wrote Ryzen. Rydell.
Yes, he's like the computer part maker, Ryzen.
Well, you wouldn't have put those two together. It's just that the timeline matches up.
Yeah, and it was he disappeared 1 year after I was born.
Yeah.
Right then.
And the same year that he disappeared is the same year that the Empress was murdered.
Okay. If I don't necessarily connect those, I probably wouldn't mention it. So.
Well, that was pretty fruitless, unfortunately. At least for Arrow. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It seems like there isn't anybody in the world who knows anything about this sword.
I know. Maybe we should have asked if he knew anyone who might know. I know.
I sort of did.
And he didn't say he knows anyone.
No, I asked if he had ever heard of non-elves doing this sort of thing. And he said no, he's only heard of people taking an elven moonblade and then letting non-elves fuck around with it, like Erilyn, potentially what she did with hers, because it's lineage based and she apparently doesn't like her lineage, so she might have, because supposedly it has the names of the previous owner, she might have scratched them out or something. Would be my guess as of right now.
All right, y'all. Anything else? Any other business anybody wants to take care of before we head in for the night?
Nothing.
All right. I can't imagine a stay in the tavern is going to be a very cheap expense. So maybe we can double up, sleep in the same room.
Sure.
I mean, we could always see if, you guys, we have way more couches than there are people in my house. We could always have a slumber party.
Say if your parents don't mind, that would definitely save us some money and be very nice of your parents. But only if you don't think they'll mind.
I definitely think it'll be cheaper than a tavern. I'll probably leave some money because my dad will certainly call some sort of maid service in the morning to clean up after us.
Fair enough. We'll help pay for that. How expensive do you think this maid service is gonna be?
I mean, it depends on how many people he has come. Normally, it's just one every other day, but if he has like a whole team come to clean up not that we're going to make a mess, but just, bringing in dirt from traveling and sweat and all that, he's very particular about how, spick and span everything has to be.
All right. Whatever you prefer, Abby. You are our tour guide while in Blue Leaf. So
yeah, as I'm walking back, I say, have you ever heard of a mythal before?
I mean, I haven't. Has anybody else?
Not me.
It's like a big magic spell that a circle of a bunch of really powerful mages would cast over like a town or a forest or an area that sort of like magically protects it and keeps disease away, and you can control the weather so everything's always perfect. That's part of what he sort of wants to bring back first. The protection, the bountiful harvest, and no disease and sickness and all of that. So everything has to be as clean as possible, as healthy as possible, as in shape and taken care of as possible. So even if we don't make a mess, he's going to immediately try to rectify whatever he sees as dirty.
All right. Very, very strange dude, your stepfather.
He if everything he did was one step less race-based, I feel like he would do so much good in the world. But it is very much for and because of the high elves that he tends to do everything he does.
I am glad that you are bright enough to understand that.
I am now third in line in the Seacaster name, so should anything ever happen to him, it would be my brother Fabian, then my sister Hilariel, and then me. Even though, firstborn is a son, he's going to get the majority of everything should anything ever happen to him. I will see at least some small cut of an inheritance. So I'll plan to do my best in the world until then, and especially after then with anything I might get from it.
That is a noble statement. I'm proud of you.
Part of the reason why I do my best to see the future, because if there's anything really bad that could happen, I want to do everything I can to stop it. A lot of it sounds great on the outside, but once you look a little bit deeper, it's not super great for a lot of people.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I bring them all home right after I tell them all this.
Yeah.
Yes, you make it back home. It seems like your mom is upstairs, maybe meditating or something. Seems pretty quiet. Likely, Arameus is doing the same.
I mean, as you guys have probably noticed from rooming with me, we don't actually sleep. So if we do make a lot of noise, it might. I mean, if we make pretty much any more noise than just walking around and whispering, it might set one of them off. Typically, me and my siblings were always keeping to ourselves, or my brother was out in the backyard practicing, but pretty far removed from the bedrooms. So I just assume it's like one of the big, like, huge L-shaped lounge couches, like a big, table in the living room. Like, we can, move the table if people are more comfortable on the floor. Pretty big open space. We can all hunker down for the night.
I'll try and find the comfiest looking couch, and I will just slump on into it and tip my hat over my head and
So
go to sleep.
As everybody's sort of settling in, I'll run up to my room and grab as many like pillows and throw blankets and everything I can and carry it all back downstairs and hand them out. Cool. If you all sleep on the couch, like I'll move the table out of the way so we can like put some stuff down, but then I'll just sit in trance there in the middle.
So Wyatt and Arrow, you kind of hear some arguing outside while you're trying to sleep. It's very light. You just like notice it. You're like just coming out of your sleep and you're like, oh, there's somebody outside arguing. Shazeno and Abby, you both know that it is Erlin and Arameus. You hear Arameus say, if Amnestria Moonflower could see you now, and then you hear Erlin say, Zaberyl. And then Abby, you can kind of see the shadow of Erlin from outside like onto the side of the house coming through the window, and she reaches towards her sword and she says, and it's Moonblade, not Moonflower. And then she storms off. And then your father comes inside. He looks all temperamental. Take it you're heading out soon to everybody as they're kind of like just waking up.
We are. Yep. Just gonna pack up and head on out.
Says, well, it was good to have you.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad you're home. I'm glad I got to see you, especially on my birthday, but just in general. I know you're a busy man, and I've been pretty busy myself, so it's always nice to bump into you when I can.
Says, yes, try to not be as spendy, I guess. But carry on. And he goes upstairs.
As everybody's getting ready, I'll leave a little note and some money, like on the kitchen counter rather than out here, saying like, sorry for the mess. I have been saving some of my money from, the jobs we've been doing. Here's a little return on that payment for the inevitable cleaning services and all that, and I'll leave 15 gold for him.
Leave an extra 2 gold. He thinks you left a 17 gold tip.
Yeah.
So as you're leaving the house, Abby's mom comes out with like a little bundle of some sticky buns, hands like a package of them to Abby, and then hands one that's individually wrapped to Wyatt.
So nice. I'll say thank you, ma'am. This means a lot to me. I do appreciate it. It was great meeting you.
She goes, oh yeah, it was great meeting you too. Outside of the house, and she does like a little wave, and then you see like Arameus like walking past the door, and he gives you like a little glare. He gives Wyatt a glare.
I'll side eye him and I'll say don't forget about that invitation. You're always welcome at my sauna. In front of Arameus, I guess.
Okay. And then you just see him push the door closed.
It'll be as we're walking down. Shizeno, I know you don't typically tend to ever eat, but Arrow, also, if you want to try one of these sticky buns, just let me know.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll have one.
Yeah, I'll give one to each of them.
All right. Okay. I'll just put it in the bag.
I quickly stuff the entire thing in my mouth.
I'll open mine up and
I
I'll
get like a bite, but
The middle bit's the best part, so I would eat around the outside first.
we'll do.
I'll open mine up. Is there like a note or anything?
Yes,
No.
there's a wedding ring.
No, it's just a sticky bun.
Oh, okay. I'll eat my sticky bun then.
He's like slightly expectantly of like something in there, and then just like, oh, it's just a sticky bun.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I opened it up very carefully, like kind of behind my back, just to see if there was a note. But when I realized there wasn't one, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she couldn't fit anything else in there because it's too full of flavor.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you get to the merchant's hut. There are 2 camels all packed up with lots of stuff on top of them. Erilyn says, well, the next part of this trip is going to be by foot. And she like slaps the top of the camels, like the pack that's on it. Everybody else is over there as well.
I'll say, we're not riding these camels?
Says, no, they can barely fit, all of our stuff as is. Maybe we can ride them, as we get closer to the outpost once we use some more of these supplies. But that's only going to be able to fit 1 person each. So I don't really want, no infighting as much as, we try to avoid that already. So.
All right. Time to get our exercise then.
You head off to the east as the grassy hills start to turn into sandy hills. And you start to enter the Anarok Desert.